Here's another example to show you why subtracting is the same thing as adding the opposite. So if I have 10 minus 5, you guys already know this. 10 minus 5 is 5. Let me get a color that will show up. So I'm at 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm at 10 at my number line. If I'm taking away 5, I'm going to go down. But if I were to rewrite this, just like we did with the terms, I have a positive 10 and a negative 5. And one thing that you can do is just think about putting a plus in between those terms. And that turns into 10 plus negative 5, which is what we see here. And as we know from adding, if I have 10, I would go up for positive 10, but then negative 5, I would go down for the negative 5 to end up still at positive 5. Now pause the video, see if you can do this next example on your own, on your notes. I'm sorry, this isn't on your notes. Think about it and see if you can do this example on your own with the Edpuzzle video, and then we'll continue. Minus negative 5, if I split it up into its terms, I have a positive 10 and minus a negative 5. So like I showed you before, we can put the plus there, and that will turn into 10 plus negative 5. But as we know, if we have a negative cancels out, and we can clean that up and turn it into a positive, and it will just be 10 plus 5. So if I have 10 minus a negative 5, and I start up here at 10, let me get a different color. So I start up here at 10, positive 10. If I'm taking away a negative, I'm going to be going up because I'm taking away subtracting. I'm taking away negative, so that's going to increase 5. And that's exactly what happened here when we changed it to adding its opposite. So I had to subtract a negative 5. I changed it to plus a positive 5. So taking away negatives turns into adding because the negative will turn into a plus. Now we are back to your notes again. So we already learned in those last couple slides that subtraction is the same thing as adding the opposite. And you can do what we did at the beginning of the video, and you can use terms to help you rewrite the subtraction problems as addition problems. So we're going to do the first one together, and then you're going to do the next 3 on your notes and check them with the Edpuzzle video. Rewrite each subtraction problem as an addition problem, and then use what you know about adding integers to solve. So I like to separate my terms out. So I have negative 3 minus 5. And as a term, I can actually look and see that that is negative 3 minus 5 is the same thing as negative 3 and adding a negative 5. So when we rewrite that as addition, it'll be negative 3 plus negative 5. On a lot of textbooks or websites, you will see parentheses around that negative 5. It's just telling you that the negative belongs to the 5. Those parentheses are not really necessary. It has to do with text when people were typing. So just remember, if you want them, you can put them, but you don't need them. So first I rewrote it as addition, and now I'm ready to solve it. If you need to, you can get a blank number line to help you, or you can use the rule. So I have a negative 3 and a negative 5. I know that they're both negatives, so they don't cancel out. They'll continue in the same direction. So my final answer for that will be negative 8. And now you have a question that looks kind of tricky. 7 minus 3 minus 2 plus 3. You can still use your same terms to solve it. So we can still use that skill of cutting up our expression into terms. You may not need to put circles around your positives and squares around your negatives anymore, but if you are still a little bit confused, it can help. So I'm rewriting each of these as addition. So I end up with 7 plus a -3 plus a -2 plus a +3. And we could just go across and do 7 and -3 and -2 and +3. But another trick is you could add your positive terms together first. So I have 7 plus 3, which is 10. And then you can add your negative terms together. -3 plus -2. They're both negative, so they do not cancel each other out. So we get -5. So now I have 10 plus -5. They do cancel out. So I have 10 positives and 5 negatives. So 5 positives will be left over. So my final answer for that problem is 5. So if you have more than one term that you're adding together, don't panic. Just take them 2 at a time, just like we did. And now, before we get to problem solving, which we're going to do on the next video, let's review what we learned on this video. So we learned that we can rewrite subtraction expressions as addition. We know that subtraction is the same thing as adding the opposite. And then we're going to use our addition rules from the last lesson to simplify. I need to get that out of the way. And in the next video, you're going to do some little bit more in-depth problem solving with subtracting integers.